Let's go to BBC Radio London's Harry Lowe, who's at Charing Cross station this morning. Hello, Harry. Good morning.
Morning, Vanessa.
And what are you seeing there?
I'm seeing absolutely throngs of people here. Every single bus that has arrived has departed full. The bus drivers are trying their best to turn away the passengers who are piling on. They're going in at the front doors. You'll know some of these newer buses have back doors. They're going on there as well. And in some cases, the middle doors. It's absolute chaos here. And I would say they're 6, 7 deep. As soon as a bus arrives, it gets packed to the rafters and then they move on. And it's cold, wet and gloomy here, and I have to say the outlook isn't much better for the bus passengers because, of course, fares are up on the buses today by 10 pence. So it's £1.65 to take a bus now. And, of course, although the tube fares have gone up as well, people haven't quite noticed that yet because, as you've been reporting, there are no tube services. Here at Charing Cross, you would expect there to be Bakerloo and Northern Line services, and just down the road at Embankment there would be Circle and District Line services as well. So that's why the buses are so busy here. And I have to say, it's not been a great start to Tuesday morning for most people here.
No, thank you very much indeed. Who joins me now? Hello, Harry. Good morning.
Well, I think it's more of a case of a punch in the face for commuters here this morning who are queuing 5, 6, 7 deep here at Charing Cross station. They are standing with umbrellas raised. It's pouring with rain. There's a long queue for taxis, as you can imagine.
Yes.
And I have to say, it's been a very, very miserable start to Tuesday morning.
Are people, is anybody saying that they broadly support the RMT? Because very often there are most terrific strikes, and still our listeners and commuters say they understand why the strike's taking place and they support it.
I'll tell you the most supportive people I've spoken to, Vanessa, and that's black cab drivers. The first person I spoke to earlier said fantastic, 2 thumbs up and on his way. I've got to say, not every black cab driver thinks it's fantastic. A lot of them are complaining that, as you might expect, there's a lot of traffic on the roads. And of course, other than Uber drivers, that's probably black cab drivers' biggest foe. But yes, I have been speaking to some of the businesses down here, and I wandered down to Embankment a little bit earlier on, and I spoke to James Keeper. He runs the coffee company Blues.
What's affected us as well was not only the station being closed, they've shut the thingy so people can't walk through. So sometimes people that don't even come back to the station, they walk along the embankment, cut through here, but they've actually locked all the gates as well. So it pushes people away from us. So,
what does this mean for you then for the rest of the day?
Well, an early finish today. You know, it's no point being down here if there's not going to be anyone here, you know.
I wish it wasn't happening. Sitting in traffic, nose to tail, all day long, with some people just moaning. Not with this lady, but some people do.
Is it good for business, though?
No, well, it's not to business, but you can't move to do it. So I'd rather not have it. That's better for business.
Yes, so as you can tell, a mixed picture here, but it's the commuters, I think, who are worst affected. And of course, it's not just the tube strike they're having to contend with. Bus passengers paying 10 pence per journey more from today because fares have gone up on the buses. And although nobody's using the tube, the fares have gone up there too. 10 pence for a Zone 1 journey, 3.8% on the daily pay-as-you-go cap. And obviously, I know this doesn't affect most Londoners who use bank cards and Oyster cards, but an 80p increase in cash fares to £6.50.
Thank you very much indeed. Harry Lowe reporting there from outside Charing Cross.
Our other reporter, Harry Lowe, is over at Charing Cross, so we can ask him now what's going on over there.
I am surrounded, as you might expect, by umbrellas. Umbrellas to the left of me, umbrellas to the right. As on my left-hand side, I've got a bus stop, and I can tell you they are 4 or 5 deep. At the peak of rush hour, it was 6 or 7 deep. Most of the services that I've seen this morning are sailing straight past. They simply don't have room. The few that have stopped have seen people piling in, as you might expect with these newer route masters, which, as you may know, have 3 doors. They pile on at the back, they pile on at the front, which is what you might expect, but they also have been trying to board on the middle doors, which are usually reserved for passengers to disembark. So it's been a chaotic scene at the bus stop to my left. And to my right is a very, very long queue for black cabs, which I must say you would imagine are doing brilliant business. And a couple that I spoke to, in fact, the first cabbie I spoke to this morning said fantastic. I've also been speaking to some others, though.
I don't have many thoughts on it. I didn't think it would be as busy as it was today. I thought a lot of people would have stayed at home, but it seems to be comparable to previous tube strikes.
Is it good? Is it good news for you guys? I've heard mixed messages from your colleagues so far.
Oh, it's a lot busier, obviously, but you can't get around as easily, and especially with the new road closures that have been put in place, it makes it even more difficult. But
So better or worse than a non-tube strike day, in your opinion?
what, for profitability-wise? Unfortunately, it's better for us, but not for others.
And profitability-wise for the ride-hailing apps as well, it's been a brilliant day. I've checked here at Charing Cross, Bolt, I've checked Uber, and both of them are saying prices are incredibly high due to surge pricing, which you might expect when the demand massively outstrips the supply. I did ask one of the customers here at the bus stop earlier, who was on her way to Selfridges for her job in retail, obviously a job you cannot do from home, how she was planning to get in. She said that she tried to order an Uber and was unsuccessful.
It's been inconvenient because normally I'll get the Jubilee, so I had to make my way from outside London to Charing Cross and wait for a bus, and none of the buses are stopping because of the rain. It's busy. As well, they don't want to make it too packed because of COVID still, even though the rules are like taken away, they still don't want to make it too compact. So right now I booked an Uber to try and get to work because I'm more than 10 minutes late. So by the time I get to work, I'm going to be like 40 minutes late already. So it's just crazy. It's a big inconvenience. So yeah.
What's your job and how expensive are the Ubers?
So I work at Selfridges in one of their sectors, and yeah, it's just a big inconvenience. And I'm in my probation. I just got it from a grad job from uni, so this is just very inconvenient. So yeah.
And do you have sympathy for the people going on strike today?
I understand they have their issues and they want their policies to be fixed, but it's a big inconvenience for me. So right now I'm not really bothered.
Yeah, it's a bit inconvenient because now I've got to work from home, Harry. How did you get where you are, and are you wearing Mum's scarf?
Yes to the second question. I am wearing my mother's scarf. I was one of the tens of thousands of passengers who used Charing Cross, and I travelled in from Abbey Wood in southeast London. Southeastern trains are still running a full service here into Charing Cross. Mostly they serve Kent and other parts of the southeast, including Sussex. But yeah, I have to say, it's not just punters who have been affected. I'm actually walking down now that narrow road that you may know, the cobbled street down towards Embankment Station. And I spoke to one of the businesses down here earlier, and he was saying this is an absolute nightmare for him. Not only the fact that the tubes aren't running and therefore the passengers aren't coming, but they've actually closed the gates. If you know Embankment Station on the banks of the Thames, usually you can walk through from the embankment to Villiers Street, which I'm on now. And he said the fact that the gates have been closed means that he's not getting anybody coming and grabbing their cappuccino like they normally would have done.
Yeah, tough times. People try to recover from the pandemic. Great work, Helen. Great
our
work.
Colleague Harry Lowe is in Charing Cross for us now and can tell us all about the situation there.
Yeah, no pancakes to report here at Charing Cross, but a lot of disgruntled passengers, as you can imagine. Lots and lots of people pouring out of this southeastern served railway station, Charing Cross, pouring out into what is quite a large and lengthy queue for both a bus or a taxi. And really, I know it's after midday, but this is a pinch and a punch for the first day of the month. The pinch, as Helen's already touched upon, is the fact that customers, usually those on lower incomes who can't afford to work from home, are facing higher fares than before. 10 pence on the buses, 10 pence for a Zone 1 journey. And of course the punch is that they've arrived potentially trying to make their journey to work, and they found that they've been unable to do so. I spoke to one of those in the lengthy queue for a taxi a little earlier on.
My name's Simon, and I'm trying to get to Victoria today, so I'm joining a rather long queue.
What would you ordinarily do journey-wise?
Normally I'd jump on the tube and I wouldn't have to plan it so much. So now I'm going to have to join this queue and see if I can get there for my meeting in the next hour.
Are you aware this is happening also on Thursday?
No, I wasn't actually. No, I don't normally come to London. I try and avoid it if I can. So no, I wasn't aware it's happening on Thursday, but I have to come in tomorrow, so hopefully it's okay tomorrow.
And do you have thoughts on the strike action itself?
No, I haven't read too much into it. I haven't had to use the tubes for quite some time, so it doesn't really affect me.
If you could sum up in a sentence how inconvenient this is for you?
Extremely inconvenient and unnecessary expense.
You tempted him to swear there. I know what you were doing, Harry. Look, in terms of, I think I was overly familiar before when I asked you about your mum's scarf. Can you just remind our listeners why a yellow and black scarf are significant?
Well, this time last week I was in a Thameslink lost property office because I'd lost my scarf, and I went and retrieved it from the lovely staff at City Thameslink station, and that was the moment I believe that you finally understood who I actually was, because you recognised this tartan, yes, yellow and black tartan scarf, and you were like, I know that guy, I know you.
I do know you. And before we get on to pancakes, or we will, I saw a story last night and I thought of you. And I said to our producer, Lauren, in fact, I sent it in our little group and I said, I want to do that story. And I know it's true because TfL have replied. So somebody lost their purse or their wallet, their purse, I think it was. The purse was found with the money intact, and TfL said they opened the purse and they took a £5 out because that is what it cost to return stuff. Did you have to pay to get your scarf back?
I did. I had to pay £3 to get my scarf back. And while I was there, I spoke to the staff and asked them about a woman who they'd had in the week before. She'd lost a Louis Vuitton bag, which in itself is obviously
you paid £3 for that.
Yeah, but she'd left £1,500 in it, as you do, and so they'd taken 10%, which is the Thameslink policy, 10% of the 1,500, and they said although she was obviously upset to lose 150, at least she's not lost 1,500. But yeah, that's the way it goes.
Come on, mate. What's the matter with you? Are you a journalist or what? You're telling me that's not a story, Harry?
Well, actually, I'm in touch with the Network Rail team. I'm trying to establish. I believe these fares for the collection of items are actually set centrally, possibly by the Department for Transport.
Doesn't mean they're right, does it? Doesn't mean they're right.
No. And I'm hoping, in a way, by asking the question, that maybe I'll. Urge some kind of consideration of a reset.
Harry, Lauren is speaking my ear. We have just explained to everybody listening in London how mid-morning stories come to be. That's me discussing with a journalist, getting a story. Right, let's do the important issue today. What's your favourite pancake then, H?
It's got to be classic lemon and sugar for me. Cannot go wrong with that.
So many vanilla people around me. I am so disappointed in you. When I saw you around that corner and we had our meeting last night, I thought, hey, there's something about this guy. Listen, great work from you and Helen. We'll come back and check in on you at least one more out and about for us today. I've asked them to move because I wanted them to get their step count up, and I am very passionate about them being healthy. Harry Lowe, where are you?
I've crossed the Thames. I'm at London Bridge Station.
I tell you what, I'm trying to do steps as I sit at a table in my bedroom. I'm rubbish. I'm supposed to do 10,000 a day. We're not going to get there today. Tell me who you've been speaking to.
Well, actually, I'm outside London Bridge Station, and you can hear that the shutters have been fully pulled across here, and that means that there will be no passengers travelling today. The 1st of March, a pinch and a punch for the first of the month is often what we do here, and unfortunately it's both of those things for passengers today. The pinch being that those who are travelling are going to be paying more. Obviously most people aren't travelling on the tube today, but when they do tomorrow they will be paying 10p more for a Zone 1 fare. Their daily pay-as-you-go cap will rise 3.8%, and those who have been forced onto the buses are paying £1.65 compared to £1.55 yesterday. Here at London Bridge, actually, I just had a chat. There's two workmen in orange high-vis jackets ahead of me to the right, and they're carrying out work that they told me there's no way they'd be able to do in the daytime. So perhaps apart from black cab drivers, they're just about the only other people to perhaps be enjoying the opportunity to go about their work. Anyway, earlier on I spoke to one passenger outside Charing Cross station who was struggling to get to work.
It's really inconvenient because I normally know people in the queue, lots of taxis, and I usually get to work within 20 minutes. And today I'm going to be late, obviously.
How inconvenient and how frustrating is it that you're having to wait longer?
It's pretty inconvenient for me because this is the only mode of transport to get to work, and I don't usually use the tube because there's no step-free access at Charing Cross.
And did you know it's happening again on Thursday?
I do. Yeah, and unfortunately I've got meetings on Thursday as well, so it's going to happen all over again.
That was Alexis, a wheelchair user that I spoke to a little bit earlier on. Of course, it's lunchtime now, so things are a little bit quieter than they were at rush hour earlier on. But the buses are still busy. TfL say they are laying on extra services, but obviously you can't make up for the fact that loads and loads of people who would ordinarily be travelling by tube aren't able to this afternoon.
I mean, you make the point quite rightly about it being slightly quieter now. Any idea about what's to come? Because we've still got the rush hour, haven't we, to go?
Yeah, I imagine, I don't know this, but people who have been attempting to use the tube this morning will have seen that there aren't services and will be making arrangements to take a different route home. But of course, until the proof will be in the pudding, as they say, and until they start turning up, I suppose there may be some people who are trying to go about their leisure business and have worked from home and won't be able to find out about this until they turn up.
In my experience, there won't be a rush hour in a traditional sense, that people will try and stagger their journeys if they've got any sense in order to get home. Well done, great work. Pass me over to your twin now, will you please?
Yeah, I'm delighted to say that over the other side of the Thames to me, Helen Hodinott is in Finsbury Park.